So, what I'd like to talk about are our feelings and emotions. It's very important to get a much better understanding of what's actually going on in this system, and uh, it will help us be able to use the vehicle that we're driving in much better. So, we are emotional beings that think. We are not thinking beings that feel emotion. We still live in the emotional dark ages. That means most, if not all, the people in your life and around you don't actually know how to be there emotionally for each other. In society, we still don't know how to be there emotionally for each other. Now, we're brought up not knowing what's actually going on. We're brought up not learning what's going on with this vehicle, what our emotions are, what our feelings are, and by not knowing, we kind of get to a place where we're like, okay, well, this is what I believe that's happening, and I'm going to deal with it in this way, which is very, very normal. But we need to learn just exactly what's going on and how we work. Now, you are the consciousness that's part of this vehicle. You're not your mind, you're not your feelings, you're not your thoughts, and you're not your body. You're the consciousness that's driving this vehicle. And this vehicle has rules, it has ways that it works. For example, this vehicle requires oxygen. This vehicle can't breathe underwater. This vehicle has a heart that pumps the blood around the veins. So there are ways that it works. This vehicle has different systems. For example, we have a belief system. That is a system, that is a part of this vehicle. This vehicle also has thoughts. Now, the consciousness has the ability to think. So that is part of more than just the vehicle, but for this example, we're going to kind of explain it in terms of what the consciousness is experiencing, i.e. the consciousness being you. What I want to talk about are this vehicle's parts where we call feelings and emotions. So, what are feelings? Our feelings, you can feel either physically or you can feel emotionally. So, if I feel physically, there's a reason for it. And I always give the example, if I cut my shoulder here and then it's bleeding, and whether that feeling is tingly sensation, whether it's hot or cold or pain or whatever, the whole reason my feeling system is firing off is to get my attention to look at that thing that is making me feel it. So your feelings are to get your attention. If you feel something, it's to get your attention to look at that thing. So I've cut myself, I'm feeling the pain, I'm feeling the tingly sensation, it's to get my attention. Now, your emotions are a guidance system. Humans are born in our natural state when we are born. Think of it as like a blank canvas. So when we're born, we're like a blank canvas, and then we have experiences in our lives that knock us out of balance, out of alignment of our natural state. Now, if I feel an emotion, my emotions are trying to guide me whether I'm in or out of alignment of my natural state. If I'm out of alignment of my natural state, I feel things like shame, anger, fear, guilt, despair. If I'm in alignment of my natural state, I feel things like joy, peace, gratitude, and I feel enlightenment. Now, if I feel an emotion, again, it's my system, just the same way as if I get a cut on my shoulder. It's my system's way of trying to get my attention to look at an emotion. Now, an emotion can be triggered. It can be triggered by interacting with someone. It can be triggered by having a thought. It can be triggered by looking at social media, watching TV, walking down the road. It can be triggered in so many different ways. So if I'm triggered to feel something, let's say that's anger. That anger and me feeling it is my system's way of getting me to look at something. What is it getting me to look at? It's getting me to look at a part of myself, at an aspect of myself that carries the emotion of anger. So it's showing me this aspect carries anger, which is what is causing you to be out of alignment of your natural state. And our natural state is innately healthy. Now, I don't want you to think I'm not trying to say you're unhealthy by being angry. Like, there's nothing wrong with feeling an emotion and having an emotion of anger or anything. But I want you to realize that your system is working for you. It's trying to tell you something. It's a communication. If I feel an emotion of anger, my system is trying to communicate with me. Just the same way as if I cut my shoulder. Now, we've not known what's been going on, and we live in the emotional dark ages. Most people, if not all the people in our lives, don't understand this, and that's okay. I'm not trying to say anyone's bad for it. We just don't understand this. So we see what everyone does, which is they just get on with their day. We ignore it. But if we're ignoring this communication, we're actually bypassing what needs to be done in order to heal it. Just the same way as if I cut myself here, then cut myself here, then cut myself here, and here, and then I kept feeling those cuts, and then I would just get on with my day, and I would be ignoring it, and I'd just keep bleeding and bleeding. Now, there are many different ways that we actually do ignore these emotions. We've got, when we feel an emotion or anxiety itself is an emotional feeling. So we feel physically or we feel emotionally. Anxiety is an emotional feeling, but anxiety itself is not an emotion. It's actually a mask of a suppressed emotion. That means there's an emotion under the feeling of anxiety. So we've never really understood what's going on. We don't know what's happening. So what we do is we try and not feel these undesirable feelings. And we bypass and we ignore by going on social media. We'll binge watch Netflix, or we'll go shopping, or we'll keep busy. Keeping busy is one of the ways that we ignore our system trying to communicate with us. We can keep busy through working, overworking. And we can actually keep busy by over-exercising. We can really, really exercise, and that's a way of us to ignore this communication that is trying to get our attention. Another way that we handle this is we can numb ourselves with drugs as well. That's another way that we go to those places where we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's happening. So I just need to figure out any way to stop this. And it works. Now, we do all of this not to feel those feelings, not to feel the emotions that are trying to be presented to us. We do it all because we don't want to think about them as well. Those emotions carry thoughts as well. So we distract ourselves not to think as well, because if we sit with those thoughts, then those emotions come further forward as well. They come stronger. And our goal and what we've learnt this whole time is just not to think about it and not to feel it. So now we're at this stage. Now we're at the stage where we're unsure what's been going on. We've not known how we work. And our entire lives, because we've not known how we work, we've learned how to deal with it. So I have to deal with it by distracting myself. I have to deal with it by not thinking about it. I have to deal with it by making sure that I'm exercising and making sure I'm doing so much in my life where I don't feel these. And this isn't, I'm not suggesting anyone is doing wrong. This is very, very understandable because no one's really known what's been going on. So we've learned that this is how we live. My initial reaction to feeling something is now ingrained in me so much it's become a habit. So now I have habitual ways of dealing with any emotion that might come up, any feeling that might come up. Sometimes it goes so extreme that we actually learn to stop the emotion before it even starts. And our upbringing, we're constantly told that we're feeling wrong and we shouldn't feel the way we do. So not only with our not understanding what's been going on, we've also been taught by our caregivers not to feel as well. So everything in our lives have pointed us towards not feeling. So it's about recognizing, okay, I've learned to go down this path like this. And what I need to do is I need to learn a new path. But at the same time, I need to unlearn my original old path. Because my original old path is a habit, an unconscious habit that I'm not even aware that I'm doing. I'm not even aware that I'm stopping myself from feeling. I'm not even aware of what is going, it's all unconscious to me. This is very normal. This is how we work as human beings. So it's about understanding that there are systems within this vehicle, and the systems have been going off. And the reason why I'm struggling so much with my anxiety and the reason why I feel the way I do is because I've not known what's been going on. So I've not been able to deal or handle with the communication that's been coming up. So I've had to block it and I've had to stop it all my life. So much so now that it's all built up and built up and built up. And now it's tipping over, constantly tipping over. And the reason I feel so overwhelmed and I feel like I've got no control and I feel so bad and I just don't know what's going on is because I've not learned what's been going on. So it's about understanding, okay, I am the consciousness. I'm driving this vehicle. There are rules to this vehicle. So my goal is to learn how this vehicle works. Once I learn how the vehicle works, then I can learn how to use my vehicle. And as I'm learning how to use my vehicle, I'm going to unlearn how I've been using it up until now. So we need to get to a place where we're using the vehicle the way it works. Just the same way as the reason we don't jump in the sea and stay underwater and try and breathe underwater, because we've learned that we can't breathe underwater. That doesn't work. That's not how this vehicle works. So the goal is to learn how this vehicle works and then start implementing the understanding that you've gathered in terms of, okay, now I need to adopt a new way. Now, one of the things I can say that would be the most beneficial understanding for what we're talking about is once you adopt a shift of a change, like a change in perspective of your everyday kind of way of living, it's going to be massive for your healing journey. And one of the biggest things was recognizing that every moment I feel an emotion, it's a communication. It's a feedback system for me. It's a communication to the consciousness, which is the part that I am of this vehicle. Now, it's very, very understandable and very normal that we've lived lives where someone may have done something that would make us feel bad. And I'm not saying that they're not at fault, and I would never invalidate anyone's way of feeling. It's understandable that someone doing something triggers an emotion. But we've not understood that this trigger is a feedback, it's a communication. And until we have that understanding, it's very understandable that we'll go like, well, that person did this to me. But if you can get to the stage where something like that will happen and you'll go, okay, hang on. That person doing that made me feel like this. What does this mean? I need to sit with this. I need to understand the communication. I need to sit down with this, feel the emotion, go deep within, try and understand what this aspect is communicating with me, and heal that part of myself. If you can do that, then that will speed your healing journey so fast. Like, I cannot explain to you the difference that that would make within months. Because we all get triggered every single day. And even if we keep ourselves from social media and keep ourselves from communicating with anyone, your thoughts alone will trigger you. And that's very normal. It's nothing wrong with that. But if we're able to use these triggers as communications of, like, you know, we're feeling something, so it's getting our attention to look at, this is a part of me that needs attention. And if I continuously give the attention to the parts of me that need attention, then there'll be so many less parts of me that need my attention. And then all of that overwhelming feeling of emotion that's been building up all of these years will start to dissipate and go down. And then you just continue doing that. And then you realize, like, oh, this is how I work as a human being. So I need to continue on for the rest of my life knowing this, knowing that, you know, this is how I work. One of the things that we have been taught, and we're understandable, is because it makes you upset, don't go there. So, you know, even in the nicest way where people have tried to be there for us, and we live in the emotional dark ages, and again, most, if not all, the people around us don't know how to emotionally be there for us. And it's not their fault. I'm not blaming anyone. But even in an attempt to help us, it's emotionally neglectful. And it teaches us how to deal with certain emotions. So if I'm sad, whether it's as a child or as an adult, the way someone helps me is by trying to change the way I feel. So that could be trying to distract me as a child. And as an adult, maybe, let's say if I ended a relationship with my partner, it could be my friends going, oh, don't worry about it, we'll take your mind off it, come on, let's go outside. And then I'd be like, oh, you know, I might be at the pub and I'll be like, oh, I feel really bad. Oh, don't worry, don't think about it. Look at that girl at the end of the bar, she's really cute, she's looking at you, like, look at her. So everything has taught me not to go towards what makes me feel bad. So now, as an adult, the only way that I know how to help myself or deal with not feel in the moments where I feel bad is not to even go there. And that is the exact opposite way of healing those parts of you. The exact opposite. It's literally in the other direction. Now, I'm not suggesting anyone jump in the deep end and feel terrible or feel all these undesirable emotions all the time. But if I think I don't even want to think about that because it makes me upset, which is understandable, it doesn't mean you're doing wrong, but I'm continuing to keep myself in this state if I keep doing that. So it's about understanding how this vehicle works. No one is doing wrong by not wanting to feel these undesirable emotions, because we've all lived in a time in this world where we've not understood what's been going on emotionally, and now everything's so kind of like overwhelming that it's very, very challenging. But just that shift, that change of kind of, okay, I feel something, what is that? What is my system trying to tell me? What is this communication? Thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like to learn how to emotionally heal yourself, check out my online course titled Emotionally Heal Yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And also click that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video.